Okay, welcome back, everybody. Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Everybody, Happy New Year. Oh, I feel so gay. Gay also means happy for those of you who don't know. But yes, Happy New Year. It is the new year. And I hope that you all had a good new year. Oh, I hope that you all had a good a fantastic holiday season. Fantastic holidays. Sorry, my hair got caught. I had a pretty fun holidays. I've got a couple games, so I've got more content to give out to you guys in the game variety. One of them is Bloodborne. I know how big Bloodborne has. I know how big a cult following Bloodborne has. Full disclaimer: don't expect like pro gamer or what have you. Don't expect me to be any kind of good, because I'm probably not gonna be. We'll see. I mainly get by these games with sheer angst, determination, and like a fuck you attitude. 10 minutes. We're not 10 minutes in yet. No swearing. I should get better at doing that though. What other game? Oh, I got Black Ops 6. Black Ops 6. I might return from, well, I guess what gave me my start, and we'll do the playthrough. Full disclaimer: I did watch a streamer play the story mode a little bit ago, but for the life of me, I don't really remember a lot of the details because I was busy just like chatting away in the chat, and I focus a lot more on the streamer sometimes than the gameplay. But yeah, we'll be doing that. We got I remember Lou Diamond Phillips is in it. Hey yo. Which is actually pretty cool though. For some reason I really like Lou Diamond Phillips. Having not a huge amount of exposure to like his work, like I know him from, I believe it's a movie called Stand and Deliver, maybe. He played a character named Angel. There's a few things I do know him from, but yeah. So there's that. Fun stuff in the future. I still got, the Resident Evils and stuff to go back to as well. Probably going to try and get into some React the content. So if you guys would like to suggest things for me to react to, I'll happily be the guinea pig. And yeah. So we're going to have a variety of content to put out on the channel, which I'm excited about. Also for the holiday season, because a lot of people say I look like a Viking, and I have a huge interest, and I'm not, the hugest I'm not hugely a religious person, but I've gotten down with some of the Viking, or should we say Norse, like pagan stuff. Which I've got a Mjolnir here, a cool little Mjolnir necklace here. Obviously, that goes, without explanation. I also do have this cool little axe necklace. It's got what I am assuming to be Fenrir on the back, and this like, I don't know, feather, like I don't know, wing or whatever. I don't have much knowledge of all the symbolisms of Norse symbology. So anyone in the Norse community that watches this, or even my community, feel free to let me know. I also have this, which I also don't really know about. We thought it was like an arrow, and then upon further research, I found that it was actually a spearhead, not an arrow. That's about as much as I've dug up so far, because, again, I don't have the hugest knowledge. So again, any of my Norse pagan brethren out there want to help educate a newbie like me on some of these symbolic, cool chains and stuff, sound off in the comments, please. And it's a new year, obviously. It's a new year, which means new start, fresh start. And I have one goal in mind. Literally just one goal. And I don't know if I'm going to be able to make it this year. I probably won't. Maybe that's just my self-doubt, but I don't think I'm going to make it this year. But my goal for this year is to reach monetization. Because I've talked about this in previous videos. And the workforce has not been kind to me. I've applied to places, and I've got nothing back. Such is life. I hear, though, that's not too uncommon for people these days, especially. And I don't want to try and make anybody feel sorry for me, because that's not something. I've grown to really abhor people, feeling sorry for me, because growing up, I was the ADHD, autistic, weird, crazy kid. So that came with its stigma of people either looking down on me or feeling sorry for me. But unfortunately, being that I have no income currently, and having applied to jobs, but obviously the jobs take a look at me and they're like, no work experience, huh? You've been out of school for what, like 7 years or so? But again, granted, I've already gone into a spiel about that, about how back in 2016, I think it was 16, something like that. So it's probably more than 7 years, probably. I don't know. I'm not thinking math right now, so I'm not, I don't have equations cracked up in my head. But, back in 2016, after I graduated, one of my parents, their health declined. One of my mother's, and the unluckiness of me being the youngest in my family. Everyone got to flew the coop. They got started on their lives, and they got established in jobs in one form or another. But me, fresh out of high school, it fell on me basically to be the default caretaker, to kind of step up. So I took care of her up until I took care of her, not up until because up until is like, oh, approximately. I took care of her up until 2020, February of 2020, where she unfortunately did not recover, and she passed away, which obviously does hinder my progress in work, because I was makeshift stay-at-home nurse. And without the income, you know, I'm considered a dependent. And I mean, I'm in my late 20s. And so obviously any insurance that I was under one of my parents has, you know, come and gone. And we tried to apply for state insurance. For one reason or another, we were approved, but then we weren't for some reason, because they're like, oh, your mom makes too much being a teacher, a public school, high school teacher. She makes too much for you to be covered or qualify to be covered. So the insurance is being insurance. A teacher's salary, for God's sakes, is not that much. So I don't know where in their fucking minds, especially nowadays, they think that a teacher's salary is too much money, is making too much. but yeah, you know, so the insurance companies or even the state insurance companies are being their usual scumbaggy selves, and I'm uncovered in insurance. So I'm uninsured, so all of my prescription medications now are not covered. All my doctor's visits are not covered. I don't, you know, I have to pay out of pocket full price. And again, I'm not in employment despite trying. So everything, it's made me feel like quite the failure, honestly. But that's why I'm kind of aiming now for monetization. That's like, I guess, my primary goal, because again, workforce not kind to me, and at least if I make monetization and I make some kind of revenue off of, you know, content creation, I can then reapply for insurance for myself. I don't have to be claimed as like a dependent. I can, being that I have some sort of income, I can apply for it for myself, and they'll hopefully accept me, but we all know insurance companies, so, you know, fun stuff. But yeah, that's why I'm, I guess, desperately, if you will, trying to aim for monetization. And thank you for listening to this tirade on how, you know, backwards things have moved for me. But on to the next stuff, you know, again, goal, monetization, and we've already got like 141 subscribers now. Thank you, every single one of you who have joined the Hound family, joined the Hound Pit, whatever you want to, you know, classify yourselves as. It really means the world to me. I say this every time, because it's how I feel, and it's true to me. I did not, going into this, expect to even make it like past 5 or 10 subscribers. Heck, I didn't even think I was going to get 1 subscriber. So the fact that even 141 people have come and subscribed to me, it mind-blowing. You know, and this year wasn't all bad. Especially towards the middle to the tail end. I discovered VTubing because of YouTube, and I've gotten in touch with a handful of creators, and they're super sweet and awesome and supportive. and they kind of they make me feel like, you know, we're friends already, despite not having met in real life. You know, they and I think I said they were supportive, but just in case I didn't, they're super supportive, and they helped me out of my doubt, of my spiral downwards, of being like, I don't got this, you know. I'm not cut out for this. But they helped me, you know, they inspired me to be like, no, you gotta try, you know. Not everybody progresses as fast as others do. Not everybody finds their footing right away. Just about nobody finds their footing right away. And so, thank you to all of my creator friends out there who I have gotten to know throughout this past year. Because without you, I don't know if I'd still be here. I don't know if I would have given up or not, you know. So thank you, every single one of you. The odds of you guys probably watching this, I know I've got like one or two of them who do keep up with me. So for that also, I'm very, very absolutely, you know, humble and grateful for. Just know that, you know, if it wasn't for you guys, I might not have made it through this year. And I don't necessarily mean like, oh, I was gonna, you know, off myself. I don't know if I would have made it through this year as a content creator. You know, is what I'm trying to say. You know, in my head, I planned this being like, oh, yay, woo, new year, blah, blah. We've got pretty sappy. We've got pretty sappy and pretty deep. But yes, thank you to again all my creator friends, all of my subscriber friends, subscribed friends, my subscribers, my houndlings, my hound family, whatever you guys, you know, want to call yourselves, because your support means everything to me, and I have big dreams. I changed it on my Twitter, my profile name or whatever. It is now like Blade. It's still at Blade Nighthound. Let's not, you know, let's be, you know, I don't want to alarm anybody, but it now says Blade Nighthound, parentheses, change the world, and then obviously close parentheses. Is it parentheses? I believe it's parentheses. And that's my overall goal. I want to be one of those people that people can look back on and be like, this guy spent his time trying to be a good person, and he spent his time trying to bring people together, you know? Because there's so much separation in the world. There's so much indifference and even hatred. And there's no reason for it, other than the fact that, hey, I don't like you, or I don't like who you subscribe to as a worshiper, or, you know, the color of your skin, or whatever. There's no rhyme or reason to it. And I'll be damned if I'm not gonna try and be one of those people who cuts through all the bullshit and the noise, you know. And so that's what that stands for. Changing the world. Maybe I won't change the entire world. Maybe it'll equate to just changing some people's worlds, you know, or their view of things, but that is also a new overall goal for me. I want to make things a bit better, or fucking die trying. You know, even with what I've got going on in the background, that doesn't matter to me. You know, I want to bring in people, and I want to make them feel less alone, make them feel like they have a place, make them feel like they are welcomed in this community. Because, you know, even though I'm one person, all it takes is one person to kick off the noise. You know, all it takes is that one person to stand up and be like, hey, you know, you matter. And hopefully that dives into a chain reaction of other people being like, hey, you know, you matter, and you're decent, and, you know, you're not alone. Okay. Sorry, my grandmother, driving back. I'm obviously in my car, steering wheel, you know. I mean, obviously you're observant. She just drove by and she mouthed. So she needs some help. So I'll be right back. Resume. Came back. She has some groceries, so I help her take in her groceries. Okay, thank you. You're probably... What's going on? What is that? Ah, it's like auto lights and stuff. No, that's blinker. Jumps. What the heck? Okay, I'm sorry. I'm trying to, there's a light that came on. Probably gonna look in my manual. Ooh, did that do something? Let's go to auto. I don't know. Probably gonna look in the manual. Yeah. I came back, helped my grandmother, groceries. Door got stuck, so I brought my knife out. So it's a new nifty knife. I don't know if I'm blurry now. Am I blurry? Or is my eyes blurry? But yeah, just in case the door gets stuck, so I can kind of just, you know, get in there. But anyways, where was I? I lost my train of thought. 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 I brushed my teeth this morning, and the water flavor makes it taste so weird. Yeah, I've completely lost my train of thought. I know it was something to do with trying to grow and build the community. And why are these lights still showing that they're on? That turned it off for some reason. ADHD is kicking in. But yeah, you know, I want to make sure that there's at least something out there for people to be like, hey, you know, this makes me feel like I belong, or that I'm not alone. Because, you know, hopefully also with this huge dream of mine, I can be like a rags to riches kind of story. I mean, I've already got the background story already that's like Hallmark movie worthy, you know. And so I know life isn't easy as well. And so maybe, I don't know, one day, as I talk this out, you know, one day I'll hit it big, and you know, I'll have maybe, I don't know, 100,000 subscribers, who knows. Heck, even 1,000 would blow my mind. But you know, even enough to just be like, I can make somewhat of a living out of this, would be kind of like my rags to riches kind of story. And, I could be like, hey, trust me, I know how hard it is. I really do, because I was the shy, awkward, moron who couldn't confidently string together words, especially in front of others or even in front of a camera. And I had no idea what I was going to do with my life, and to be able to be like, and also I had no idea how to work a computer because I've never had a computer. I still don't. I'm working off a potato laptop. And I see a lot of times everywhere like, oh, free computer giveaway, and I'm like, me, please pick me. I'm like, I need it. I have no computer, never owned a computer, and this would be so much helpful. I could finally help further my career along, and now having a decent computer will also allow me to, have collaborations with these new creator friends of mine, and heck, we could even play off, stream / recording. Because all I have is a freaking console, and the freaking console owners cock block you with a fucking monthly subscription, so you can't play online. And it's not even the latest gen console. And yet somehow I managed to be mildly entertaining. I mean, I have to be right at this point, because 141 subscribers. I got to be doing something that's that keeps people coming in, right? But I could look back and be like, this is where I came from, and hopeless, useless, burden, feeling like I'm a burden, feeling like the waste of space, stuff like that. I could look at someone maybe in a similar situation and be like, I was in that situation. I know exactly how that feels, but trust me, if you stick it out long enough, and you give it a try, you can turn it around, and you can also have your success story. Because again, by no means, I have a stacked deck against me, I very much feel like I have a underdog story, because all my life I've felt like I was less than, and that people looked down on me, or they pitied me, or they didn't expect me to amount to much. And if I can do this, make a living off of it, or even again some kind of revenue from it, be able to give back, I can be like, hey, this is my underdog story. This is my rags to riches. This is my Cinderella story. I'm someone that everybody in one form or another were like, he's not that bright. He's awkward. He's clumsy. I don't see much. I don't see this kid doing much. To now, and hopeful to prove everybody wrong, or at least prove myself right. It's not about proving everybody wrong. It's more about proving myself right. And again, being one of those like shining beacons, being one of those people that can be like, you belong here. I'm glad you're still with us. I'm glad you're still with me. And God, I know how hard it is. I know how hard it is. But, you know, just keep trying and you'll make it through. You know, that's another reason I'm kind of desperate to make this work, to kind of will this into fruition, to manifest it. That's the word I'm looking for. Because, you know, if I can pull this off, and if I can manifest success, anybody can, you know. And maybe that's another thing I want to prove. I want to prove that I can manage this, and that I can look at others and be like, you may not be able to think that you can do it, but I know for a fact that you can do it. Because all my life, I thought that I would never and could never do it. I thought I'd never get anywhere. I'd never be successful. And I'd be doomed to just roll over and die, essentially. But, you know, being able to say, again, if I grow enough and, you know, make monetization, make any kind of revenue or living off of it, be like, hey, look at this, you know, this is proof that some idiot who doubted himself, other people doubted him, you know, he felt hopeless, he feels hopeless at times, and didn't think he'd ever be able to do anything. I can, you know. And if I can, I know for a fact that you can. Because I came literally from nothing, you know. Started bare minimum. I started live streaming on a console with a headset, not even a good headset. I'm pretty sure it was a headset that plugged into the controller, for God's sake. And it had the shittiest mic. You know, so it's a huge Cinderella rags to riches dream. It is, and I want to be able to accomplish it and be like, you guys got this too. Trust me, you too. You know, and I'm rambling and I'm talking a lot about my dreams and aspirations and as if I'm going to well, you have to, right? You have. I guess I do have to try and change that mindset, right? To where it's more in assertive and affirmative type of way, to where it's like, no, I don't think I'm going to pull this off. I know goddamn well that I'm going to pull this off. And nobody, no one or nothing, not a thing is going to fucking stop me, you know? I feel like maybe I do have to adopt that kind of attitude, because if I keep going to where it's like, oh, I hope I do this, you know, I don't know. But those are my New Year aspirations, my New Year plans, goals, my big dreams, and I hope you all stick around for it. I know it's been a lot of like vlogging, I suppose, from my car lately. Editor friend is still hammering out some issues on her end, and with my current living situation, which hopefully should be resolving soonish, I'll be able to get back into recording. For God's sakes, I haven't even implemented any settings into my microphone yet. And I wanted to. I was like, I came across this video that's like, make any microphone sound like it's decent quality. And here's the settings and basically the walkthrough. And I was like, awesome! But then, you know, one of my siblings' world kind of goes to hell, and me and Mama Hound and whatnot, you know, we had to come and swoop in and be the rescuers, you know, for as detailless as possible, which kind of also turned our lives upside down. And there's a bunch of kids now running around screaming their heads off in my house. So it's like, recording's not much of an option the way I usually do. But yeah, hopefully that will resolve, and I'll be able to get into gameplay. I'll be able to get into reactions, and, you know, bring the laughs, bring the wholesome-ishness, the comedy again. But I already said laughs. You know, there's some advice for you in a way. Even if life gives you a curveball, you can adapt. It's what I'm doing right now. It's what this content is. You know, it's adapting. You know, I'm still able to provide content, advice. You know, vlogging. You know, maybe it's a lot of talking now at the moment, but it's still content for me and for you guys, and it's a way to adapt. You know, so there's the hidden gem of this whole situation. You can adapt even if life gives you a curveball. You know, try to think outside the box, open your mind and free your mind. You know, that kind of thing. And you'll be able to pull it off. But with that being said, and again, I know this is hectic, rambly as always, and very deep, and maybe even a bit philosophical. I went into the community. I have some community pages out there. I have, you know, my Twitter. I have my Instagram, which I've slowly started, sort of, but not really. Like it's semi-active, I guess. You know, because I just recently posted a couple pictures of basically me and Miss Bellhound. And I have my Telenon app that I have, and you know, I've pulled some questions, or just some, you know, statements, or if you will, some comments. Let's just go with that, comments for lack of a better word, from you guys, the community. And I wrote them down instead of screen recording. They're not much. I have really terrible handwriting, and I don't know how well it's going to pick up on the screen. Probably not well. Are we going to focus? Focus, please. If you can tell, I don't know how to work a camera. Maybe if I hide behind it. Anyways, yeah. So these are from you guys. In other words, and hopefully you've stayed this long. Because if you were one of these people who asked any of these questions or made any of these comments, you know, you'll have them answered or read. So I will start, honestly, probably top to bottom, because I think I wrote like the first two, which are in-depth questions that I wanted to answer that I really liked. I was like, ooh, these are actually really good. Love or fame was the question. And first of all, thank you for reaching out, as I say with all these. Fame is not, you know, near and dear to me. And so to answer the question, I guess, is probably love. I want to love people, and I want to feel loved in return, kind of a thing to answer. I want to, you know, not necessarily be like, oh, you know, everybody knows who I am. Like even if I manage to somehow get, I don't know, let's just throw it out there, like 1 million subscribers, it won't matter. The quote unquote fame won't really matter to me. What would matter to me is, you know, people care for me, for each other, the community, and so yeah, so love. Another question was, do you know what you want to do for your next birthday? Not really. as I'm working with basically a lot of my holidays and birthdays have kind of turned into more of like, before it used to be like, oh, what do I want? Now granted, these are some of them, like in game quantity or wise. Some of these I've wanted to play, but very much so nowadays when it comes to my birthdays and like Christmases and stuff like that, it's a lot of like, okay, what can I get that I can potentially turn into content to put out for you guys. So basically it's kind of become a lot of work, like holidays and birthdays pretty much, because I'm like always thinking about and what to ask for, to be like, what can I put on my channel basically next? What can I ask for that, might not necessarily, where in my lane can I ask for like a microphone or like a headset or a camera or blah blah blah, something that's not necessarily going to break the bank, because a lot of my family also don't have a whole heck of a lot of money. So I'm like, video games maybe, or even if it's like a cheap cheap microphone or headphones or whatever, whatever I can do to help my channel. It's become like work. I've turned everything into work pretty much. Another question was, do you ever have snap streaks? And rather than I'm not like 100% positive what they mean by this, but assuming they don't mean like, oh, do you just spontaneously take your clothes off and go like for like a jog around town or something? I'm gonna go with maybe. They're asking if I ever, have like, do I ever snap at people? Do I ever like have those moments where I get like angry or whatever? And 100%, yes, I do. I have those moments. I have those times where I'm like, I'll flip out or I'll get frustrated. It's something I've never been like clinically diagnosed with like an anger problem. And I guess for the most part, per se, I've more or less managed it well. But I do have a lot of anger inside of me, that I've come really far in acknowledging and recognizing and growing from, because a lot of it comes from like anger towards myself, towards my dad, lack of a better word, sperm donor, if you will. Sorry, Dad, if you see this. Probably won't, but hey, you haven't been in my life for like a decade or and a half, so the fuck doesn't matter. Sorry. But yeah, so I do have the occasion where I snap at people and get angry and whatnot. I've never really gotten angry violently towards anyone. If anything, it's always been violent towards myself, where I'll hit like, I don't know, the wall, or I'll hit my mattress or a pillow or whatever. I'm not one of those people that could bring myself to really like hurt people, the kind of thing. But yeah. So to answer the question, yeah, I do have those times where I'm like, fuck off. Would you ever give your partner your phone code? Well, for starters, I am single. Ladies. And Ryan Reynolds. No, I'm just kidding. Right? I still ride that train. I mean, it's very dead and gone, but it may be a dead meme at this point. But I still like ride that. Oh, it's okay to homosexualize to throw out like homosexualized feelings towards Ryan Reynolds, because everybody gets a pass when it comes to Ryan. But yeah, I would give my partner my phone code. I don't really have people like breaking down my door, and I don't, I'm introverted anyway, so it's like, what am I going to be worried about? She sees a text to my mom that says, "Oh, I love you, Mom." Like, I don't have anything to hide, when it comes to that. As long as they stay off my mobile games, I'm fine. Or my mobile apps, I'm fine. Maybe Twitter is okay, Facebook, stuff like that I'll be okay with. But any like mobile, like video game or the game apps or stuff, stay off of those, because hello, it means a lot to me. Speaking of, like, one of my mobile games, Mech Arena, I put out a video like 2 years ago. It's got so much views. If you guys want to see me go back to Mech Arena, let me know in the comments below. And fuck's sake, I'll make it happen. I haven't played it in quite some time, but I'll make it happen. Another one asked, this is more of an advice. What happens if a person shows a lot of interest and then all of a sudden they don't? And basically they're like, what do I do? How do I guess, cope or whatever from that? I guess this kind of comes with a lot of connotations. I'm making no assumptions about you, and I know this was an anonymous question anyway, so I don't even know who you are per se. This is not an assumption on your character. This is just, I guess, situation. If you're one of those people who, let's say that you had this person in the friend zone, if you will, and this guy or girl or whatever is, deeply like infatuated with you and really wanting to be with you and have good intentions and make you happy, but you're like, friend zone, you'll be there when I get to you. And then all of a sudden you finally break down and you're like, okay, I think I'll give this person a shot. And then, but all of a sudden when you go back to them and they are, they're no longer interested. In that regard, I hate to break this to you, but, too little, too late. But in regards to, like, if it's someone who's like, oh, I want to be with you, blah, 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 and then out of nowhere, maybe you're talking to each other back and forth, maybe some flirting or whatever, and then all of a sudden just switches off, and you're like, hey, what happened? I hate to say this, but the person probably didn't care to begin with in that case, and I don't know, try your best to move on. It is the best I can give you, because that's all I can give you, really. There's no, like, I don't have any answers to be like, oh, how do I get this person to go back to, oh, I'm madly, in love with you, or what have you. It's just, if they're interested and then all of a sudden nothing, it's best to just be like, okay, this person wasn't the one. Move on. Kind of thing. Another one is your favorite city. My favorite city. I'll be honest with you. I'm a very sheltered person. And I haven't ventured too far out in places, which could be another future thing, especially if I make it, like, if I make it to a point where I get Comic-Con status, I would love to try and venture out, especially across the states if it's drivable or transportable, maybe overcome my fear of flying. Fuck for a flickertash, but I have like kind of a phobia of flying, but you know, because I mean, obviously, as a lot of people, you know, it's scary to be up in the sky and to think to be like, oh, if this thing crashes, I'm fucking dead, you know, kind of thing. So maybe that's something to get you know, get around to. That's for favorite cities. There is a city, I believe, in Chicago. I've never been to it. I think it's Chicago. Is it Chicago? I don't know. I got I'm taking this from a Gabriel Iglesias stand-up show. But there is a city in Chicago that has a restaurant that has a beverage called a chocolate milk shake. And for that alone, I think I would have to give it to that specific city in Chicago. Because that just sounds like the way he told it. The way he I have to give it to that because like that's almost like a dream of being like, I want to try me a chocolate cake shake. Please give it to me. You know. So I'll give it to that city, even though I don't know the city. I apologize for not knowing the city, but yeah, that's hearing that, like the chocolate milkshake, the chocolate cake shake. I'm like, yeah. I would love to. Rain or snow? That was the another question. The next question, obviously, rain or snow. I will be 100% honest with you. Having had plenty of snowstorms, because I live in Rhode Island, very small state, not Long Island in New York. I live in Rhode Island. It's its own state. Stop confusing us. We're not New York. We're not from New York. We're not part of New York. We are our own goddamn state, and we do have attitudes. We have attitude mixture of both New York and Boston. It's as if Massachusetts or Boston, should I say, and New York got together, hate fucked each other, because we all know I guess the stereotypical rivalry of like, oh, people from Boston hate New Yorkers and New Yorkers vice versa. It's as if they got together, hate fucked each other, and then boom, you know, that's essentially Rhode Island for you. That's essentially Rhode Island. People in Rhode Island. Although we yeah. But having had enough snowstorms and having ended up being, like, a lot of times I've had to shovel the driveway, and many times I've had to shovel it on my own, and the fact that one snowstorm, you know, ago, what have you, I was shoveling and I messed up my back from it. I'm gonna go with rain. I prefer the rain more than I prefer the snow, because fuck the snow after you know, injuring myself with shoveling. Granted, I will, you know, it's not just the snow. I obviously I'm not physically in shape, but being that it was the snow that caused the injury pretty much. If it hadn't snowed, fuck the snow. I like rain. Give me rain. Have I ever been in love? I think I have been. Maybe it was just young and like a crush or something. I don't know. I like to think. I'm gonna go with yes. There is a girl out there, or now a woman, if you will, who I guess I consider to be like my first love. And unfortunately, for one reason or another, things didn't quite work out. Obviously, you know, otherwise I'd have them in my life and still be talking about them to this day. But it didn't work out, and she also happened to be the first person that I had ever kissed, you know. And every time I look back on like that moment or just the time there, I remember fondly, and I remember feelings that I had for her that, you know, it was a middle school, you know, kind of girlfriend and crush type of thing. And I do hope she's doing well still to this day, you know. But you know, I look back. The only person I've ever gone to a school dance for, albeit I'll be honest, I probably wasn't the best date, and I probably, maybe I brought down the night, who knows, because I'm not a dancer, and public stuff is just, I'm not the greatest public person. Trying to improve that, but there's something for you there. The fact that she's the only person that I've ever gone to a dance for. And to go back to my train of thought, when I look back on like the feelings that I've had, I wanted to be a better person for her. You know, I wanted to do better in school because of her. You know, she made me that's how I felt towards her. And maybe it was, again, like young, dumb love or whatever, but that's kind of what I go back to, and I'm like, yeah, maybe I did, you know, fall in love there, because, again, I'll still look back and I'll still think fondly of it. There's a lot of things that I don't remember in life in general, but there's plenty of moments there where I remember very vividly. I remember that she got one of those like cheesy couples necklaces, and one of it was a heart, the other one was the key, and she gave me the key. And so yeah, being able to say that I can remember stuff like that, I think maybe I would have to say, yeah, I have probably been in love, you know, even if it was, you know, middle school, high school, young, dumb, kiddie love, if at most, if you will. You know, I would say so. sorry. Anyways, another person asked me, do I think saying sorry shows weakness? I will be honest with you. I am one of those people who does have a very hard time saying that I'm sorry. I don't really know why. You know, to be honest with you, I have no idea why. For some reason, it's one of those things that I really have to like force out. But I think also it comes from the fact that anytime I would get like yelled at for snapping or doing something or whatever, while the emotions are still high, you know, the expectation of like they'd always be like, now say sorry, you know, and it's like, I'm still very upset and very mad, and you're trying to force a genuine apology from me. Like maybe that's where it stems from. But I can't really in good conscience sit there and be like, yeah, it shows weakness. I don't think it does show weakness to apologize, to admit, you know, that you were wrong about something or wrong in some situation. I just wish it didn't seem like it take like freaking tooth and nail to get me to say the damn words. Because again, I don't know what it is, but for whatever reason, I find it really hard to do that. And I don't know why. But yeah, no, I don't think it shows weakness. I think it actually takes a lot of strength, and it takes a lot of self-awareness to be like, yeah, no, I'm in the wrong here. I fucked up. I'm wrong. And, you know, lack of a better word, if we take it into my context, you know, I'm man enough to admit that I was wrong, you know. But yeah, you know. So no, I don't think it's a weakness. Another question is, do you feel uncomfortable walking with your family? And they also asked why, you know, and I'm guessing why or why not. And I mean, no, you know, if I'm walking publicly or whatever, I don't care if you know, like I'm walking with my family and I'm like, you know, people look at us weird or whatever. Like I don't. It's not something I feel embarrassed about, because I'm like, it's my family and I've been with them my entire life, and you know, I can't change the fact that they are my family. You know, and we care about each other. And heck, some families don't care about each other. There's a lot of families out there who are at each other's throats all the time, you know. So I can't really sit there and be like, yeah, I'm embarrassed, you know. I love my family. I wouldn't change my family. I wouldn't. So no, to answer your question, yeah. All right. So these I got two more, and these are more of the ones that I was like, I like these questions. Both for different reasons. I'll go with the first one because it's more of a deep question. And it is, what do you need to apologize to yourself for? And that is a loaded question. And to some people, you may look at it and think, that's a very odd question, you know. Who needs to apologize to themselves? But to me, it is a very huge and, again, deep question. I think for the most part, I would have to say the things that I need to apologize to myself for is being so hard on myself, being my own worst bully, and honestly for hating myself, you know, for disliking myself so, like, vehemently, venomously, if you will, because uh-oh, I saw a cat, sorry, ADHD. But yeah, like, it has, for so long, I've put myself down, and I've looked in the mirror, and I, you know, practically wanted to like spit in the mirror, you know, spit in the face of the mirror. And I didn't, I didn't like anything about myself. And not necessarily because I'm not hugely different in regards to how I approach people or life. For one reason or another, in the back of my head, you know, it just like this nagging voice of like, you're an awful person. You deserve all this horrible shit that's happening to you. You know, stuff like that, you know. And again, it's not like for whatever reason I was necessarily doing anything wrong to anybody or anything, you know. I like to think that I treat others well and decently, but for whatever reason, you know, there was that side of me. There is that side of me that's like, no, you're awful, and you deserve the worst kinds of punishments. And then that's definitely something that I have to apologize to myself for. It's something that I personally, it's come, I've come a long way. I'm not anywhere near, you know, rid of stuff like that. But from then to now, you know, I can sit there and look at myself or look at the mirror and stuff. And then sometimes to even in the mirror when I look at myself, because I used to think I was absolutely ugly and repulsive. And I know I'm no like Prince Charming, and I'm not like, you know, maybe outwardly visually appealing to most people. But, you know, there are times where I sit there and I'm like, hey, you don't look half bad today, you know? And other times I sit there and I'm like, I try to be a good person, you know. I treat others decently. I don't go out of my way to tear someone down. And so again, I've come a long way, but I still have a long way to go, and it's still stuff that I definitely would have to apologize to myself for, because it has brought a lot of self pain and suffering, you know. But yeah, you know. Thank you for that question. Now that I've kind of put myself in a mood, I guess. Which is why I saved this other question for last. And this question is, have you ever had to take the blame for something you didn't do? Honestly, there's probably quite a handful of times that I have, but I have a very funny story to answer this question, and it's not necessarily that I had to take the blame for it, but picture this, okay? Between my maternal mother and my second mother, there are 6 kids in total. And we obviously grew up together. And one day, you know, we're all still, I think every single one of us still under the age of 18, which means I'm, I don't know, 3 years old maybe 4 years old. Who knows? But one day, everyone gets called in, you know. Everyone gets called into an area, a specific area, because it turns out someone had written on the wall in like marker or pencil or pen or whatever. And so obviously the parental figures in the house not happy about it, especially being that it wasn't a house, it was an apartment. And so they're like, who wrote on the wall? You know, and no one's fessing up because obviously everyone, I mean, the person who did it obviously doesn't want to get in trouble, and then no one else is obviously going to want to take the blame for it. And, you know, so they're obviously getting more frustrated because no one's, you know, stepping up. And so they're like, okay, if no one steps up and admits that they wrote on this wall, you all are grounded. You're not going to be able to play the games. You know, basically like, oh, electronics has all been revoked. And so little me hearing this pretty much steps in front of everybody. And I go, it was me. And of course, everyone, you know, all the siblings behind me, they're all like, whoo! God, that was close. We got off scot-free on that one. And then my maternal mom, birth mom, for those who don't know maternal, she goes, seriously, guys, you're gonna make him take the blame for it? He doesn't even know how to hold a pencil. And so technically, I didn't have to take the blame for it, nor did I actually take the blame for it. But it is kind of one of those situations where I was like, the blame, I guess in one form or another, shifted to me for a mere moment. But obviously it didn't, because my mom's like, he doesn't know how to fucking hold a pencil. Obviously he's not the one that wrote on the wall. And you guys all suck, because you're going to make him take the blame for something one of you did. And so yeah. That's the story I have to answer the have you ever had to take the blame for something you didn't do? And it's a funny story to me. I don't know if you guys found it funny. I hope you did. I hope you stuck around long enough for that, because I know this is probably like a hour video at this point. Yeah, it's an hour video. An hour of ranting and rambling and whatnot, but hey, we had a lot to talk about. A handful of questions to answer. And, yeah, to end off on a cheery high note, funny story note. If you all somehow managed to make it this far, thank you all for watching. And again, like I said in the beginning, I hope you guys had a great New Year. Hope you guys had a great holiday season. This is where I'm wrapping things up. Obviously, I have taken up a lot of your time. It is Thursday. And yeah, just thank you all for coming. Thank you all for supporting me. Thank you again for watching this long rant-winded video of me just talking and I guess reflecting and answering your questions. Feel free to leave comments in the comment section, or go to the Telenom if you're feeling, you know, too bashful, you know, shy to publicly put in a comment, you know. And if you like this video for whatever reason, hit the like. It would really mean a lot to me, really help out the channel. If you're new here, welcome. Think about hitting that subscribe button, because number one, it's free, so it don't cost you a dime. And number two, you know, hey, it'd be nice to keep in contact with each other, you know. And we love the new faces. We love the old faces, but we love the new faces too. We want the new faces to become the old faces, and the old faces to become the older faces. So there could be new faces for newer faces. We love it. We love the new faces. We love the old face. I don't know why that's just something that I slipped into. But yeah, until next time, this rambly outro. Take care, all. That's cringy. We cringe around here. We embrace the cringe. But take care, you know. And I can't wait to see you in the next video. Whether it's me shooting my mouth off, or screaming at the top of my lungs in a video, or just laughing my ass off at a reaction, or being grossed out or weirded out. Who knows? Who knows what the future holds? I don't. But yeah, I hope you're all doing well, and I hope you're having a great Thursday. And I will see you guys again in the next one. I think I'm going to stop doing that, because it just seems stupid and over-the-top cringe. Like, it seems like I'm doing this to purposely be cringe for some reason. But, yeah, we're going to stop that. Yeah. Take care, everybody.